Hello everyone, my name is Miss Jenna with the Louisville Public Library. I am so excited to be doing story times with you online every Friday at 10:30. Each week we will be reading awesome books together and we'll also be doing a craft. You can pick up your craft on that Friday right inside the main library doors. It will be in a brown paper bag. Let's get started. Hello friends, thank you so much for joining me for story time today. Before we get started, let's talk about the letter we talked about last week. Letter O, very good. And does anyone remember the sound that O makes? O makes the sound aw, aw, aw. Very good. And we talked about how O was for owl, and you made that cute little owl of your own. All right, does anyone know what comes after the letter O? Right, the letter P. This is a capital P and a lowercase p. And P makes the sound p, p, p. And P is for my favorite food in the entire world, pizza. So I thought it would be fun to read books about pizza today. I bet some of you enjoy pizza as much as I do. So our first book is called Curious George and the Pizza Party. It was written by Cynthia Platt and illustrated in the style of H.A. Ray. It was published by the Houghton Mifflin Company. Curious George and the Pizza Party. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today he wasn't just curious, he was excited. So excited, in fact, that he was turning flips and standing on his head. A girl in George's building had invited him to her pizza party. George had never been to a pizza party before, but he loved parties, and he loved pizza, so he knew it had to be good. "George, it's time for the pizza party," said the man with the yellow hat. "Have fun and remember to be on your best behavior." George got to the party in perfect time. "Hi, George," called out the little girl. But oh, what was all of this? The children were wearing puffy white chef's hats and checkered aprons. George got a hat and apron on too. The best was yet to come. They weren't just going to eat pizza, they were going to make it too. "Everyone will get a piece of pizza dough to roll out and make a special pizza," explained the girl's mother. There were many little lumps of dough. "But first, let's just play some games," she said. Everyone went into the living room to play Pin the Pepperoni on the Pizza. Everyone, that is, except George. He was curious about those pieces of dough. George thought and thought, if lots of little pieces of dough were good, maybe one huge one would be even better. He gathered the lumps of dough together and squished and squashed them until they became the very biggest piece of dough he'd ever seen. What fun! Maybe rolling it out would be even more fun. George poured flour out on the table and he rolled and rolled and rolled the dough with a rolling pin. It was messy work. First he bumped over one of the chairs. Crash! Then he knocked over the sack of flour. Thump! The flour looked like snow lying on the floor of the kitchen. George liked snow though, so he didn't mind at all. Soon he had gotten the dough nice and thin. But the thinner it got, the farther it spread out. Before he knew it, the dough covered the table, then the chairs, and then George. Without the flour, it started to stick to everything, including George. George stopped to think. Maybe the dough was better off in small pieces after all. George got a pair of scissors and began cutting up the dough into lots of different shapes. He thought everyone would be pleased. "George, what have you done to the kitchen?" The little girl's mother did not look very happy. "I think it's time for you to go home now." How surprised and sad George was. Just then, the children burst into the kitchen and saw the mess that George had made. "George, what happened?" asked one boy. The other children looked at the shapes George had made with wide eyes. "Wow, George, I've never seen pizza dough like that before," said the little girl, smiling. "Well," said her mother, "if you can clean up this mess quickly, George, I suppose you can still stay to make pizza." The children all helped George clean the kitchen. He was lucky to have so many good friends. As they worked, they talked about the pizza. "I'm going to make a pizza that looks like a star," said one little boy. "And I'm going to make one that looks like a house," said a girl. Once the kitchen was clean, the real fun began. All of the children picked out perfect pieces of dough and got to work. They spooned on tomato sauce and sprinkled on cheese. They added lots of vegetables and pepperoni. The pizzas looked wonderful. One looked like a rainbow, another like a stop sign, and still another like a balloon. There was even a pizza that looked curiously like George. "Well, George," said the little girl's mother, "the pizzas taste great, and thanks to you, they look wonderful too." Everyone agreed it was the best pizza anyone had ever seen or tasted. For the second time that day, George was so happy that he turned flips and stood on his head. Of course, it was a little harder to turn flips with so much pizza in his belly, but George didn't mind. It had been a wonderful pizza party. Well, I am glad that George's mess turned into a good ending. Next, for our craft today, we're going to make a little pizza of your own, and you can put on whatever toppings you like on your pizza. All right, let's get started. All right, friends, are you ready to make that pizza of your own? All right, when you get your grab bag at the library, you will find a paper plate. You will find some long, skinny rectangles. This is your shredded cheese. You will find some red circles. These are pepperonis. You'll also find some little black ovals. These are black olives. And some spicy green peppers. All right? From home, you'll need a glue stick and a red crayon or marker. So the first thing you're going to do is take your red crayon or marker and you're going to color that paper plate. Now, I already did mine, so you didn't have to sit and watch me do it, but this is our sauce on our pizza, okay? So you can put a ton of sauce or a little bit of sauce, however you like your pizza, all right? And after you're done coloring that plate, we will stick on our cheese. And again, you can stick on a little bit of cheese or a lot of cheese. I know I have a 12-year-old that doesn't like any cheese on his pizza. Can you believe that? Now, I like a lot of cheese. So I'm gonna stick my cheese on. There's so many different things you can order on your pizza these days, like pineapple and ham and sausage and vegetables. You can make it any way you like. All right, so I think I'm done with my cheese. All right, I also like pepperoni, so I'm going to stick some pepperoni on my pizza. All right, there's my cheese and pepperoni. Now, I also like black olives, so I'm gonna stick a few of those on. and I'm gonna put 1 pepper on because I don't like my pizza too spicy. Right in the middle. All right, so here is my pizza. Now you can't eat this one, it was just a fun craft. But real quick, let's go over our shapes because we just put so many shapes on our pizza. First of all, what shape is this plate? Right, a circle. And can you tell me something else that's a circle on our pizza? Good, our pepperoni. Awesome. And then what shape are the black olives? I know, oh, I dropped one. They're kind of hard to see. An oval, that's right. And what shape is our shredded cheese? Now, I know this is a little bit bigger than what you use at home, but the shredded cheese that we put on our pizza is in the shape of a rectangle. Great job, friends. Well, let's get on to our next book today. All right, friends, our second book for today is called Hughley's Pizza. It was written and illustrated by Ted Arnold and published by Scholastic. Hughley's Pizza. I'm hungry for pizza, said Hughley. His friends Booter and Grubble were sitting with him in their secret slime pit. They looked curiously at Hughley. What's pizza? Asked Grubble. It's a kind of food I once ate in the people world, said Hughley. It must be something monsters don't have, said Booter. Hughley hopped up. Then let's go find some, he said. I'll take my snack sack. Sounds good to me, Grubble agreed. He was always ready to eat. We're going on a pizza hunt, said Booter. The 3 monsters hurried to the hatchway under Hughley's favorite bed. They peeked out carefully, not wanting to be seen by people. No one in sight, Hughley whispered. They must be downstairs. Is that where the pizza is? Asked Grubble. The way I remember it, said Hughley, the pizza came from the outside. There was a knock on the door and a people person was there with pizza. He led his friends quietly down the stairs. They slipped out the front door without disturbing the people family. Okay, said Hughley, now everyone start looking. The 3 friends searched everywhere. No pizza here, said Hughley. No pizza here, said Grubble. No pizza. Wait a minute, said Booter. I don't even know what pizza looks like. Hey, that's right, said Grubble. Neither do I. Don't worry, said Hughley. I'll know it when I see it. They crept down the street after street, looking high and low. Suddenly, Hughley cried out, Time for pizza! Before them was a brightly lit building. A sign on the roof glowed with something round and flat. On tiptoes, the 3 friends peered through the window. Pizza, drooled Hughley. How do we get some? Asked Grubble. We can't just walk in the front door. Let's look around back, Booter suggested. Behind the building, they found a people machine with a large pizza on top. That's the biggest pizza I ever saw, said Hughley. The 3 of them scrambled onto the machine. Time for pizza, they all cheered and started to chew. Clank! Ouch, said Booter. This pizza is kind of tough. I don't think I like it, muttered Grubble. Hey, this isn't real pizza, said Hughley. At that moment, a door on the back of the building flew open and a people person hurried out with a large stack of flat boxes. Everybody hide, Booter whispered. The people person jumped into the machine, dropped the boxes onto the seat behind him, and drove away fast, very fast. His wheels screeched around corner after corner. All at once, he skidded to a stop. He grabbed the top box and jumped out. Is he gone? Hughley asked. I think so, said Booter. Hey, what smells so good? Hughley lifted the lid on the top box and licked his lips. Time for pizza, they cheered. Booter and Grubble both reached for a piece. Oh, I just remembered, Hughley said. Monsters aren't supposed to take people's stuff. I suppose that means we shouldn't eat people's stuff either. What? said Grubble. After all this, we can't even taste it? They stared at the pizza and their mouths watered. Suddenly, to their surprise, the door opened beside the stack of pizzas. A strange people person reached in, grabbed the boxes, and ran off with them. "Stop!" yelled Hugly. "That pizza isn't yours!" Without thinking, he leapt out of the machine and chased after the stranger. "Hugly, come back!" cried Booter. She and Grubble followed him. The people person heard the shouting and looked back. 3 monsters were chasing him. "Aee!" he screamed. He threw the pizzas at them and ran faster. The boxes rained down on the monsters and they tumbled to the ground. Someone came running behind them. "Quick, into the bushes," said Booter. "Thief! Thief!" called the pizza person, running up the street and shaking his fist at the stranger. But he stopped at the pile of boxes. "Oh no," he groaned. "I guess I'll have to go back to the shop for some fresh pizzas." He threw the whole mess into a trash bin before he left in his machine. Hugly, Booter, and Grubble crawled out from their hiding place. They looked at the trash bin. "I guess if people throw stuff away, we can have it," said Hugly. They looked at each other, then cheered. "Time for pizza!" They ate and ate and ate. Booter and Grubble discovered they loved pizza as much as Hugly did. Finally, there was only 1 box of pizza left, but they couldn't eat another bite. "Let's take it back with us," said Hugly. The 3 monsters found their way back to the people house where they started, but the house was dark inside and the door was locked. "How are we going to get inside and under the bed?" asked Hugly. "You could climb that tree, Hugly, crawl along the roof, slide down the chimney, and unlock the door," said Grubble. "Better yet," said Hugly, "we can build a catapult and shoot you through that open window, Grubble. Then you can let us in." "Hush," said Booter. "You 2 hide by the door and wait for me." Booter set the pizza box on the edge of the porch. Then she knocked on the door. Hugly gasped. "What are you doing?" "Just be quiet," said Booter, and she hid too. A sleepy people father opened the door and scratched his chin. "I don't remember ordering pizza," he mumbled. "Better put it in the fridge." He stepped out onto the porch to get the box. Behind him, the 3 monsters tiptoed into the house unnoticed. They raced upstairs and under the people child's bed. "Pizza is great," said Grubble back at the secret slime pit. "Yeah," Booter agreed. "I'm ready for more. Too bad I had to leave it on the porch." "What you left on the porch," said Hugly, "was an empty box. The pieces of pizza fell out on the way home." He opened up his snack sack. Time for pizza. Well, those monsters are pretty silly and had quite an adventure looking for pizza. All right, friends, thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next Friday for story time. Have a great week. Thank you for joining me for story time today. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Please have the adult in your home leave us a comment and tell us how many individuals were watching with you today. It truly helps the library. Until next time, let's spread kindness wherever we go. Have a great week, everyone.